A little birdie told me that you've been trying to shift your mindset around fitness and your health and your body by focusing on being healthier, wanting to be stronger, wanting to be fitter, but shifting your mindset has not worked for you. You haven't gotten the progress that you've wanted and you're frustrated. Why? Why is that happening? Because if you could just shift your mindset, then you would have a better time, but like you can support other people having a healthier mindset. But for you, as much as you want to say that looks don't matter, they matter to you. They matter to you, right? And I'm not saying that looks don't matter to me, but we're going to unpack why having a healthy mindset isn't working for you and why you haven't been able to get progress with having a healthy mindset through eating healthy, by doing the things you think that you should, but you're still not getting the results that you want. So we're going to unpack that today because this is very important. And I am expecting some light bulbs to go off because I know that when I started to really think about these things, I was like, yeah, unfortunately, you're right. You know what I mean? So today we're going to be talking about this. So if you are new to the podcast, welcome. My name is Megan Timpson. The podcast is 1% Healthier, where we focus on progress, not perfection, with our health and with everything that we go through in life. So when it comes to having a healthy mindset around food, there's a lot of reasons why we might want to do that. And it might be because we might realize what having an unhealthy mindset looks like and that we might have one, right? And we want to change that. And so we think that, okay, well, I just need to have a healthier mindset and shift from this track to the next one. But I don't know how to drive on this track and I don't think that it's getting me where I want to go. So I'm going to go back to what I've always done, right? And a lot of times we think about that and that's what it feels like. But I want you to know that the reason that your healthy mindset and healthy eating hasn't been working for you is not because you're not committed to your goal. It's not because you don't want it. It's not because you're not working hard enough. It's that you're impatient. And it's that you have a very urgent relationship with getting results. Let that sink in. And I know that's like, oh, I don't really want to hear that. I know I need to work on my patience. But the reality is, if we have a very urgent relationship with fitness and wanting results, then it is no wonder why trying to shift to a healthier mindset and eating healthy and whatever is not working for you. It's no wonder. And I wanted to give you a couple different examples to really illustrate this point for you. Okay, so let's think about a vending machine. Let's think about we are putting in our money. We expect, okay, I click this button, I want this thing, it's going to come out. Well, what happens when it doesn't? What happens when I put my money in and it's not working? I start to think, okay, maybe there's something wrong with the vending machine. I try again, I click the buttons again, I put money in again, and I click the same buttons and it's not working. So I'm like, okay, well, the vending machine's broken. Like I start to wiggle the vending machine. I'm expecting like I needed to put in a little bit more effort or make this happen and force it to happen, but it's not getting me what I want, right? And when you think about another example where we're trying to eat healthy, we're trying to do what we think is right, let's think about we're told to pray. The scriptures say, ask and ye shall receive. Okay, I pray, but then I don't receive. So where's my blessings? You know what I'm saying? Where's my abundance, God? Like that, when I don't see the results that I want to see, I like shaking my fists at heaven. I'm like, well, why pray if I'm not going to get what I want? When we get into that mindset and we start to think about everything being very transactional, we feel entitled to a result. We feel like that, whether we realize it or not, that we're having a pretty big ego, that if I do this, then my body better do this. Like if I learn how to respect my hunger and I put my fork down and I leave food on the plate, my body better lose weight. And if it doesn't, I'm pissed. You know what I'm saying? Like it sounds silly, but it's kind of the inner dialogue that we have. And it's the same thing like, oh, if I eat in a calorie deficit, then my body better do X, Y, and Z. I better be shredded. And if I'm not, what the heck is going on? And we start to get really, really frustrated. And I want to give you an example that I had literally today, not related to food and body at all, but this will help you to illustrate the point. When it comes to business and when it comes to content creation and when it comes to long form and short form content, I get really caught up in short form content. Like, what should I make? What should I post? I get really fixated on, oh, like there's a new idea. Ooh, I like that. I want to make my own version of that. Or someone is saying you should use these tactics. You should post like this. You should format your reels like this. You should format your carousels. And they give you so many tips. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, maybe if I just take those tips and apply them to my content, then I'm going to have more success. People are going to follow me. People are going to support me. People are going to engage with my content. And I'm thinking about all these metrics that I want to improve. And so I'm thinking, oh, well, maybe just around this other podcast, and then the next podcast, the next challenge, the next tip, the next plan, I'm going to figure out how to do content in a way that gets me the results that I want to. Because people on TikTok keep saying, post your content, the opportunities are going to come. But I'm posting my content and I don't feel like the results are coming. And then I get really frustrated and I'm like, oh my goodness, slow down. Slow down there, buckaroo. Like, let's just focus on, like, what are you really trying to do with your content? What are we really after here? And I had this conversation with somebody in my business mastermind, and she was asking me, well, like, where's your mind at right now? Because you might be, like, really trying to prove something in your content, like that you're doing good, and by closing down the sales business and going all in on 1% healthier, that you will show them, like, that you're doing good, right? And she was, like, asking me these questions, and I was like, ooh, I didn't even know that I was thinking that, but I was thinking that. And then she was talking about how with short form content, it's really easy to get, like, a quick dopamine fix because you post something and you feel like you did something, but you are not working on the back end of your business, on the offer creation and the things that nobody is going to clap for you on. That is the grunt work and the slow, steady of the season that you are called into right now, is to work on that. Like, if you want me to tell you what to do, Megan, work on that. Like, this short form content is not the problem right now, but for me, it feels like a problem. It feels like a problem, and that's how you probably feel with your fitness goals. You want to lose weight. You're like, Megan, this is the problem. I am frustrated. Why am I not getting results? And I'm here to tell you that, thinking about last episode, last week, we talked about the foundation. We talked about the things that nobody is going to see. Nobody is going to clap for you for working on your relationship with food. Nobody is going to clap for you when you are learning how to handle your emotions. People are going to clap for you when you post a picture where you are shredded, and that's why you want it, right? That's why I wanted to be a bodybuilder. I wanted to be shredded. I wanted to be fit, and I wanted to be like, dang, she worked hard for those results. And that's where it's a huge ego hit, or, you know what, not even a hit if it doesn't have to be, but a wake-up call to be like, where's your mind at when you're bringing these things to the table? I really want to lose weight. Why do I want to lose weight? And I know that you're going to ask me these questions, but I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. Like, whenever I bring a content question to the mastermind, I'm like, I know that they're going to ask me about my mindset. I know they're going to ask me, like, why I'm bringing this up, because I have other things to work on. I know that they're going to tell me that, like, yes, you can do this, and, like, give me tweaks and stuff here, but at the end of the day, that's not what you should be focusing on right now. Like, that's what they're telling me about the content. And, like, yeah, it's going to suck to put that on the back burner, or to, like, be unattached from that result, unattached from who's following, unattached from who's liking, who's commenting, and who's not, and releasing that, because I have no control over that. I have control of what I put in, right? And so that, again, makes me feel like, oh, I should just post more, post high quality, improve the quality, and, like, fix all these little things about it. But at the end of the day, I need to be thinking about, you're right, like, this is me thinking about last episode. If you haven't listened to the episode from last week, we can run around the root of the problem as many times as it takes. We can take as many laps around it as we want to, but eventually we're going to come back to square one and realize that we need to address the foundation. Let me think about my business. To give you that example, I can run around this content loop over and over and over again and be thinking, if I just get this content right, then I'm going to have the business that I want to. I am always going to be coming back to square one, and I'm not going to have the business I want to until I freaking build the business. What? Like, duh, Megan, that should make sense, but the reality is I'm going to have a hard time with that until I change. And so for you, it's the same thing. Like, where are we bringing this pressure energy to figure out the things to get the results that we want right here, right now? Where are we at? So the same question that they asked me, where is your mindset at right now? What are you thinking about? Why do we want those results right now? Like, is there a quick dopamine that we're trying to fix? Because I can promise you that your body is begging you to stop treating it like a vending machine. It wants to partner with you. It wants to be healthy. It wants to be fit and strong. And it wants you to stop fighting against it. It really does. But if we continue to treat it like a vending machine that we put in a diet plan and we expect a fitness result, we're going to keep, getting frustrated and kicking this vending machine and be like, where are my results? We're going to keep asking those same questions over and over again. And when we do, just get curious. Just get curious. We don't have to be judgmental of ourselves. But again, this is stuff that we work on all the time. And these are all questions that I have asked myself in business, in fitness, with food, with all the things. So no judgment here at all, because I've literally thought the same things that you think. And especially like when you are a very high achieving person and you love to work and you know that you're made for more, and so you feel like you can handle like a lot of capacity for pressure. So it makes sense like why we want it to be pressure to be healthy. It makes sense why we want that, because in a way like that pressure is comfort, and that even sometimes leads to procrastination, but that is a whole other thing. But it makes sense, right, why we do that. So I just want to bring awareness around the ego that can kind of come up when we really want to get a certain result within a certain amount of time, and we are ignoring and trying to run around the fact that when it comes to prayer, it's not about a result, it's about a relationship with God. When it is about fitness, it is not about getting the result from the fitness, it is about being a fit person, right? When it's about business, it's about building a successful business. It's not about one short form content and one little piece of it. We can focus on the results all we want to, but the results will naturally come as we focus on the things that matter in the foundation. So something I want you to ask yourself is, when we say it's not working, the mindset that I have, healthy eating, it's not working, what comes up for you when you say that? Like, I have to do this right, or it's not working fast enough. What are those thoughts that come up for you? Because usually it's something that's rooted in the pressure and the urgency to get that result. And so when it becomes really reactive, you're reacting to it again, that foundational thing of like emotional regulation. We are reacting to it, and you are compelled to do something different because you're currently uncomfortable. You're uncomfortable with how you feel in your body. You're uncomfortable with how you look. You're uncomfortable with how your clothes are fitting. Or you're just uncomfortable with the thoughts that you're currently having, and it's getting annoying, and you're not liking where you're at right now. And so you feel this pressure to make a change. And a good example of that is, I'm going to move to a new city. I want to go to that new city, and I want to be the best I've ever been. I want to look the best I've ever been. I want to be so confident in that new city that I'm going to make friends, and I want to be fit, and I want to be strong. And maybe you want a boyfriend, maybe you want to date, but you don't feel confident to date right now. And so you're thinking that on the other side of this fit body, I'm going to get all these other things, right? That's where the urgency comes in. So that's where we want to get curious about, okay, where is the urgency coming from? And I want to remind you that this nothing is working mentality is a very fixed mindset. And I know that we are growth-minded individuals. We're very high achieving. We have a lot of goals that we want to work on. And sometimes, for better or for worse, we get stuck in different mindsets, and it's just opportunities to grow and develop in that way. And I want to share that with you because it's just your brain having a frustrating experience, that we are frustrated about walking a new neural pathway, that it is so frustrating. But the reality is that it's not that you don't know what to do, because you do. Inherently, the answers are within you, and my role is just to ask you the right questions to bring those answers out. And I will help you and I will guide you in that, because truthfully, your body is always ready to work with you, and you can know what to do if you are willing to be curious, and you're willing to be objective, and you're willing to explore within yourself these questions and finding those answers, because you can do it, and you can have a healthy mindset, and you can have healthy results, and you can have a healthy body. You can have your cake and eat it too. And I think that it really just comes down to us being willing to explore that, so that you can trust yourself again. You can trust yourself around food. You can trust yourself in your life. You can trust yourself to make these hard life decisions that you sometimes feel like, I have to be perfect in order to do this. I have to have a perfect plan in place in order to do this. I need to have an exact perfect reason in order to move to a different state. the reality is done is better than perfect because perfect never gets done. Remember that quote? And on those same lines of when we say nothing is working, usually that also comes from a place of we have spent a lot of time on this goal. Not just months, but it has been years. Years and years of trying to get this fitness goal. We have felt like we need to get fitter and faster and stronger for as long as we can remember. And it gets really frustrating when we feel like we have nothing to show for it, that we have no results, that we don't have the results that we want. We don't have the image of health that we see in our minds. And so it's like, well, man, is it even worth it? Is it even worth it to continue to put in this effort? But I want to bring awareness around the fact that not only has the effort you've been putting in your actions, but it has also been the emotional pressure that you've been putting on yourself that makes it so fatiguing, that makes it feel like, why am I continuing to do this when it's not working? Think about how much effort and emotion has been behind you when you putting the pressure on yourself to lock in. Can I just lock in for this month? Can I do no sugar for 30 days? Can I do intermittent fasting for this month? Can I do whatever the diet plan is? Or can I do this fitness challenge? Can I do 75 hard? I just need to freaking lock in, and you are so dialed in on that. And then it's like, no wonder I'm getting so frustrated, because not only is it my physical actions, but it is my emotional, my mental actions as well that is making it so frustrating. So I want you to ask yourself, what are you fueling your actions with? Are you fueling it with pressure? Are you fueling it with ease? Because at the same time, truthfully, there is comfort in the pressure. And when you think about that example I gave earlier about content, when I post something, it makes me feel like I'm doing something. And that's what it feels like when we start to get excited. Oh, I'm getting excited about going on a diet, or I'm getting excited about a new macro plan or a new macro count. I'm getting excited about this new fitness plan I'm going to start, because in a way, your brain is thinking, the results are already promised. The results are already going to be there. All I have to do is lock in and focus on the results and just execute. That's all I have to do. And your brain is already giving you that dopamine, because it feels like half the work is done, right? I've already planned. I've already done what I needed to do. And so this is where like that emotional pressure is coming in, and you start to stick to it, and you start to do it and do it and do it. And then Wednesday comes around. I don't know why, but Wednesday was always the hardest day for me. It comes around, and all of a sudden the motivation is tanking, and it feels harder to wake up that day to go to the gym. It feels harder to follow the plan. And then by the weekend, man, like the pressure to lock in on these goals is getting really annoying. And that's when like the emotions come in of like being reactive, like, oh, if I just have this, then like it's not that big of a deal. But then you feel really bad about it, and then the shame comes in, and then you feel bad for what you ate, and then you feel bad about your body, and then that cycle goes over and over again. And then you start to eat more and feel worse about your body, and then you start to eat more, and then down the spiral goes, right? And it's that all or nothing thinking that once I do this, then I don't have a choice, like I should just eat more, and then I'll start over on Monday. Man, that is like a whole rabbit hole to go down, but it makes sense, again, like why there's comfort in that pressure, because it makes you feel like you're doing something. It makes you feel like you are going to get the result already. But we need to know that the results that we're after is not around another plan. It's not around another shortcut, right? The plan can be simple and solvable right now. And that's one of the best things that you can tell yourself is, I actually have the answers right now, and it can be simple, and it can be easy, and I can be trusted. And it just comes from showing yourself that over and over again. Now, when we say that the problem can be simple and it can be solvable and you can do it right now, a lot of the times we feel very resistant to that because it feels too easy. It feels too simple. Like, you're telling me all I have to do right now is listen to my hunger cues, or focus on nutrient timing, or focus on my emotions. There might be some dismissal of that idea because we think that we are capable of more. We are capable of the pressure, and that's why we like it. Now, I want to speak to you, little miss. I can do hard things. I know that you can do hard things. I know that you're made for more. I know that you are capable of doing so many great things, but that does not mean that you are above the little things. That does not mean that you are above doing the small and simple things, the little work, those little tweaks that will make the biggest difference for you. And I think that is why we get stuck sometimes, is because whether we are cognizant of it or not, we think that we are above that work. We are ready for the next level. We are ready for a lot to take on all at once. But the reality is, if we want to make healthy and sustainable changes, if we want to live a healthy and balanced lifestyle, we want to achieve that level of health that we have in our minds, that does not come from overloading yourself with physical and emotional pressure overnight. That comes from the small and simple things over time. And you know that. And I think that we just forget it when we really get overloaded in our brain with that pressure, and we really want it right now, and we're very urgent. And so today, the takeaways from this episode, I want you to think about when you feel the pressure that starts to come up, when you want the results right now, and you're telling yourself, having a healthy mindset is not working for me. What is coming up for you? What are the thoughts that you're thinking? What are you making that mean about you? Again, building off of last week. What are we making those thoughts mean? Because we still need to do some foundational work here. And next week, we're going to talk about tracking and planning and whatnot. The 4th episode of this month, we're going to be talking about body. And we're really going to hit home on those topics of why we hate our body and how to stop hating our body. We're going to talk about a lot. But I want you to think about today. What comes up for you when you want the results and you want them right now? Because maybe you didn't realize that you have a very urgent relationship with getting results. Maybe you did. But I think when we bring awareness around this, it helps us to really get clear on what I need to work on. What have I been avoiding? The second thing I want you to think about is, what are the little things that I might have been avoiding that I can work on? And that might be as simple as focusing on building nutritious meals and getting 3 to 4 meals in a day. Maybe you've been skipping breakfast because, again, that's a way of showing that you're disciplined, or that's a way of putting pressure on yourself inadvertently, right? But maybe that's a way that you've been going about it. So, again, what things have you been thinking are just, they're too simple, I don't want to work on them? I want you to get really clear on those skills, the skills and those simple things that you want to work on. And if you need help, and if you want extra guidance on what are the skills that I should be working on, what are the things that you would recommend, feel free to DM me on Instagram and we can chat more about this. And I want you to ask yourself, finally, am I willing? Am I willing to work on my emotions? Am I willing to work on the skills that I know that I need to work on if I really want to have long-lasting results? Because again, think about last week. We talked about the foundation. We talked about the things that you need to work on in order to get the results. And forcing a square peg into a round hole is not going to work long term. It's not going to be that healthy, sustainable life that we're after. So those are a couple questions that I want to leave you with. Next week, we're going to be talking about how to eat healthy for performance and without tracking, talking about intuitive eating and all of that. Then the following week, we're going to be talking about how to stop hating your body. So exciting. And if this resonated with you, if this was helpful for you, please let me know. And if you have any other questions about it, feel free to send me a DM on Instagram. Let me know if there is a topic that you want to dive into, or maybe you're like, I don't know what to work on from here. I don't know what skills I need to work on. Send me a DM and we can uncover that and help you so that way you can build a strong foundation. All right. I'll leave you guys with that, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye.